We just got back together again. We were working together because we could work as a band.
For decades, Linda Ronstadt has been one of the most celebrated voices in music, earning fans with her versatile talent and heartfelt performances. Yet, behind the spotlight and chart-topping hits, whispers and rumors have long swirled around her personal and professional life. Some claimed her health struggles were far worse than publicly disclosed. Others speculated about the real reasons she stepped away from music. And for years, no one knew the full truth until now. At 79, Ronstadt is finally breaking her silence, addressing the speculation that has followed her for decades. But the truth isn't what most people think. It's not about scandal, hidden conflicts, or dramatic betrayals. Instead, it's a story of resilience, adaptation, and self-preservation, decisions made quietly, with thought and care, that allowed her to live authentically while protecting her artistry. Fans who have long wondered why she disappeared from the stage will finally hear her perspective. In her own words, it's a revelation that reframes her legacy, highlighting not just her vocal talent, but her strength, intelligence, and courage in the face of challenges few could have imagined. What emerges is a deeply human story about fame, choice, and the personal battles that often remain invisible behind the curtain of public life. Linda Ronstadt's confirmation finally puts decades of speculation to rest, and the truth is far more inspiring than anyone expected. Linda Ronstadt's career has always been defined by versatility. From rock and pop to country, jazz, and operatic explorations, she navigated genres with ease and authenticity, earning critical acclaim and a devoted following. Yet behind that remarkable musical journey, fans were left with unanswered questions, especially as Ronstadt gradually withdrew from the public eye. For years, whispers circulated about her health, her motivations, and even her relationships within the music industry. Speculation ran rampant, fueled by the absence of clear answers and the natural curiosity that surrounds someone of her stature. At the height of her career, Ronstadt was unstoppable. Albums sold millions, her voice was instantly recognizable, and she seemed to have the energy to tackle any project. But as the 1990s progressed, her presence on stage and in studios became less frequent. Performances were canceled, new projects delayed, and interviews became increasingly rare. Fans were left to wonder, had something happened behind the scenes? Had health issues finally caught up with her? Or was there a deeper, unspoken reason for her withdrawal? For decades, the truth remained elusive. Industry insiders were often tight-lipped, respecting Ronstadt's privacy, while the media speculated endlessly. Some rumors suggested conflicts with collaborators, others hinted at personal struggles, and a few even implied that the singer had simply lost her passion. None of these explanations, however, captured the full picture. Only Ronstadt herself could clarify what had truly happened. And for many years, she chose silence. Her decision to step away was not impulsive or reactive, it was deliberate. She recognized that continuing to perform while facing challenges she could not fully control would compromise the quality of her work and her artistic integrity. In interviews decades later, Ronstadt revealed that this decision was both difficult and necessary. It was not about scandal, controversy, or surrender. It was about preserving the essence of her voice, her craft, and her identity as an artist. One key factor that influenced her choice was the onset of health issues that gradually made singing increasingly difficult. While specifics were often misreported or exaggerated, the reality was clear to Ronstadt herself. She could no longer perform at the level she demanded of herself. For someone who had built a career on precision, emotion, and technical mastery, accepting this limitation required courage. Stepping away was not giving up, it was acknowledging her humanity and protecting her legacy. At the same time, Ronstadt's withdrawal highlights a lesser-known aspect of her character: foresight and self-respect. Unlike many in the industry who continue to perform despite declining ability, she chose a path of quiet dignity. She refused to let external pressure dictate her decisions, and she prioritized her well-being over public expectation. This restraint allowed her to maintain her artistic credibility and preserve her personal life, free from the relentless scrutiny of the spotlight. Moreover, her absence prompted reflection on what it means to be an artist in a world obsessed with visibility. Ronstadt's decision challenged the idea that success must be continuous, visible, and public. Instead, she embraced a slower, more private rhythm. demonstrating that personal fulfillment and artistic integrity can coexist, even if it means stepping away from the stage. Finally, the silence that surrounded her departure amplified curiosity, creating a space for misunderstanding and rumor. Fans and media alike filled that void with speculation, often missing the more profound truth that Linda Ronstadt's story is one of intentionality, resilience, and careful self-management. Her decision to step back was ultimately a declaration of autonomy, a choice to define her life and career on her own terms, while much of the public focused on Linda Ronstadt's absence from the spotlight. The reality behind her decision was far more nuanced than anyone realized. It wasn't a single incident or a dramatic turning point that led her to step back. It was a combination of factors, most notably her declining health and the relentless demands of an industry that never pauses. For someone who had dedicated decades to perfecting her craft, this was not an easy acknowledgement. Ronstadt's voice was her instrument, her identity, and her livelihood. She built a reputation on technical mastery, emotional depth, and fearless experimentation across genres. Every performance carried a weight of expectation from herself, her collaborators, and her fans. But over time, she began noticing subtle shifts, changes in tone, stamina, and vocal strength that could not be ignored. These weren't catastrophic failures, but incremental signs that maintaining the standards she set for herself would become increasingly difficult. Adding to this challenge was the public's unrelenting curiosity. As a beloved figure, any pause in her activities sparked speculation. Headlines questioned her health, her personal life, and her professional relationships. Rumors circulated about possible conflicts, mysterious absences, or secret struggles. In reality, much of this speculation was rooted in misunderstanding. The truth was quieter and far more personal. Linda was navigating her limitations while preserving the integrity of her career. Her decision to step away was a form of proactive self-care. Rather than continue performing under pressure or risk diminishing the quality of her work, she chose to prioritize her health and dignity. For someone accustomed to giving her all on every stage, this required both humility and strength. The choice was deeply private, intentionally shielded from media scrutiny, and framed by an understanding that her legacy deserved protection above all else. The silence around her withdrawal created a vacuum that others quickly filled with assumptions. Fans projected their desires, the press speculated endlessly, and some industry insiders misinterpreted her absence as disinterest or disengagement. None of these narratives reflected the truth, yet they persisted for decades. It took courage to wait until she was ready to address the rumors directly, without allowing speculation to dictate her story. Moreover, Ronstadt's choice sheds light on the pressures faced by performers whose identities are closely tied to their abilities. In an environment where visibility equals validation, stepping back can feel like surrender, even when it's the healthiest option. By quietly withdrawing, she demonstrated that resilience does not always involve fighting publicly. Sometimes it involves making difficult decisions in private, ensuring that personal well-being and professional integrity coexist. Her eventual confirmation, at age 79, emphasizes the importance of agency. After years of speculation and misinformation, she reclaimed her narrative, reframing the conversation around health, personal choice, and artistic integrity. It's a reminder that behind every rumor, there is often a real, human story, one that deserves respect, patience, and understanding. Linda Ronstadt's silence was not emptiness. It was a carefully considered act, an assertion of control over her own life. And by finally speaking out, she offers not only clarity but also inspiration, a model for how to navigate public pressure, personal challenges, and the complex intersection of fame and health with dignity. We'll explore the specific challenges Ronstadt faced in balancing her health with her passion for music, and how this delicate negotiation influenced her later life and legacy. Linda Ronstadt's journey away from the stage was not defined solely by health challenges. It was also shaped by the emotional and psychological toll of decades in the spotlight. For a performer whose career spanned multiple genres and whose work demanded both technical precision and emotional authenticity, maintaining such standards came with enormous pressure. Every album, every concert, every public appearance was scrutinized, often intensely, by fans, critics, and the media. The constant demand for perfection amplified the challenges she was already facing with her voice and overall health. One of the most difficult aspects of stepping back, as Ronstadt has later confirmed, was reconciling her identity with the reality of her limitations. Her voice had long been a defining part of her self-expression. It carried not just melodies, but the full weight of her emotions, experiences, and artistry. Accepting that she could no longer deliver performances at the level she demanded was not an easy task. Yet it was this self-awareness that ultimately guided her decisions. She recognized that continuing under diminished capacity would not only compromise her artistry but also misrepresent her legacy, a legacy built on authenticity and excellence. The decision was further complicated by the external narrative surrounding her absence. Over the years, speculation grew into a flood of rumors that she had personal conflicts with collaborators, that she had become disengaged from the music industry, or that her decline was far more severe than she ever disclosed. While such rumors dominated public perception, the reality was quieter and far more personal. Her withdrawal was an act of careful management, balancing the need to protect her voice, her reputation, and her own well-being. It was a testament to her foresight and her refusal to let external pressures dictate deeply personal choices. Ronstadt also had to navigate the emotional consequences of being misunderstood. Fans who loved her work often interpreted her absence as abandonment or disinterest, while media speculation at times painted her decisions in an unnecessarily dramatic light. The emotional weight of these misperceptions was compounded by the need for privacy. She had to protect herself from invasive scrutiny while simultaneously acknowledging her fans' devotion. This delicate balance between maintaining dignity and managing public expectation was one of the key challenges of her later career. In interviews, Ronstadt has reflected on the broader lessons of stepping away. Her experience highlights the often overlooked human side of professional artistry, the tension between capability and desire, the need for boundaries in the face of public demand, and the courage required to prioritize health over obligation. For her, stepping back was not surrender. It was a strategic, thoughtful choice aimed at preserving the integrity of her life and work. It was about longevity, respect for her craft, and ultimately, self-preservation. Her story also serves as a corrective to decades of speculation. For years, the absence of a clear explanation allowed rumors to fill the void. By speaking openly, Ronstadt reframes the conversation entirely. The narrative shifts from scandal and weakness to resilience and wisdom. She demonstrates that strength is not only measured by public performance but also by the quiet, often unseen decisions that preserve one's dignity and integrity. Ultimately, Linda Ronstadt's confirmation at 79 is more than a clarification of facts. It is a profound statement about agency, self-respect, and the human side of artistic life. It challenges assumptions about what it means to be successful, visible, or productive, and reminds us that personal health and well-being are paramount, even in careers defined by public adoration. We will examine the lasting impact of Ronstadt's decision on her legacy, her influence on future generations of performers, and how her story continues to inspire fans and fellow artists alike. Linda Ronstadt's legacy, long defined by her extraordinary talent, has taken on a new dimension with her recent confirmation about the reasons behind her withdrawal from music. Far from diminishing her accomplishments, the truth enhances them, revealing not just a powerhouse vocalist, but a person of immense wisdom, courage, and self-awareness. By choosing health and integrity over constant visibility, she has provided an enduring example of how to navigate the pressures of fame while remaining true to oneself. The impact of her decision extends beyond her personal story. For aspiring musicians and performers, it serves as a blueprint for balancing ambition with well-being. In an industry that often rewards relentless output and punishes pauses, Ronstadt's approach is revolutionary. She demonstrates that stepping back is not failure. It is strategy. It is a conscious act of self-preservation, one that ensures artistry remains sustainable rather than fleeting. This lesson resonates particularly in an era where mental and physical health are increasingly recognized as critical to long-term success. Her confirmation also reframes decades of public speculation. For years, fans and media alike sought answers, often constructing narratives that fit their assumptions rather than the truth. Some imagine conflicts, others imagine decline, but the real story, quiet, deliberate, and dignified, was always more profound. By finally speaking out, Ronstadt reclaims control over her own narrative. She reminds us that authenticity is not always loud. Sometimes it is expressed in the courage to step away and protect what matters most. The cultural significance of her revelation cannot be overstated. It encouraged empathy over judgment, understanding over rumor, and reflection over assumption. It invites audiences to reconsider how they view artists who disappear from the public eye. Far from being a sign of weakness or disengagement, Ronstadt's absence now stands as a testament to her integrity and foresight. Her voice, both literal and symbolic, continues to resonate precisely because she made choices that safeguarded its legacy. Additionally, her decision highlights the broader human dimension of life in the spotlight. Fame often magnifies personal challenges, and the expectations placed on celebrities can obscure the reality of their lived experiences. Ronstadt's story reminds us that behind every public persona is a complex individual, navigating pressures that are not always visible. Her openness encouraged a more compassionate understanding of the sacrifices and decisions that shape an artist's life and career. Today, fans celebrate not only her musical achievements but also her resilience and wisdom. Her confirmation offers closure to long-standing speculation, while also inspiring future generations to prioritize well-being alongside ambition. In doing so, Linda Ronstadt reinforces the idea that true strength is measured not only by talent, accolades, or visibility, but by the courage to make choices that honor oneself and one's craft. Ultimately, her story is both personal and universal. It is a reminder that behind every legend lies a human being making difficult decisions in real time, balancing passion with practicality, and navigating a world that often values spectacle over substance. By finally speaking the truth at 79, Linda Ronstadt ensures that her legacy is remembered not only for the beauty of her voice but also for the wisdom of her choices. Her journey teaches that the most inspiring acts are sometimes unseen. The decision to step back, to listen to one's own needs, and to act with integrity defines a different kind of courage, one that transcends music, fame, and time itself.